Hello, welcome to the Snap UK. I'm your host.
Welcome to this new children's podcast.
It's the last one of the season, John. Come on.
I feel bad because I grinned at him like an inane idiot, and it's my fault. I'm really sorry.
So I'm Johnny. I'm here with Griff.
Hello,
Jim
yes.
and some cunt. Paul can't be with us because
he has a wife.
He has a wife and family and stuff.
Jim, you have a wife and family, but you had a fight, and you also had your wedding anniversary and Valentine's on back-to-back days. How did that go?
It went well, actually.
Because you're still here.
I also have a wife and family, but not for much longer because, as John just made clear, I'm a cunt.
To be fair, my wife and family are now in a different country, so we're good.
Winner.
There you go.
Sounds like a good place to be.
Well, it's our last show of the season. It's the Super Bowl review. It was... I can't remember the final score in the end. It was
38-35.
38-35. I
We
remember it
weren't
was one above our script.
34-37.
34-37.
It's all about the script.
And the script. The actual script was 37-34 that apparently got leaked as well, wasn't it?
There you go. They had to make a rewrite right at the end.
If nothing, it proved that we were fairly accurate with our analysis. Yes. Which makes change for us.
And it all came down to the punter, which is what we suggested. So, 34-37, and it was 35-38.
Reality and
none of us are in a good spot right now.
Very tired. What I've discovered is we're all too tired to recover from staying up for the Super Bowl and then going to work.
Yeah, we're all
yeah.
I'm nearly 40. I had 2 nights out in 3 nights. And it was really tough.
Yeah, same.
I
was out Saturday night.
A cold. I'm doing speech bubbles. Like a cold. A 3-day cold.
I mean, the only highlight of the last few days is one, cream pie.
Oh, Kirsty's cream pie.
Amazing.
It was wonderful.
And Jim's argument with Vernon Kay.
Oh, yeah, it turns out Vernon Kay is a coward.
He is a coward.
Doesn't like us, doesn't like the off-season, apparently.
Doesn't like the off-season.
No. He said, boo,
Or facts.
7 months till the NFL kicks off again. I was like, celebrate. It's the off-season, team building, draft, free agency. He's like, bore off.
Oh.
So obviously not a big fan of the NFL.
I don't really understand.
I mean,
That's half of the intrigue, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
As well as someone who wants to make a living from the NFL, to then go the 7 months of the season of the off season, I'm not involved. You're like, well,
I think there may have been drink involved. Not from Jim.
The fact that he deleted your interaction very quickly.
All of his stuff. He deleted the entire thread, not just Jim's comments.
Right, okay.
He took off the entire lot, mine as well, that I personally added
Seems a bit nuts.
to support Jim.
So you should invite Vernon to come on and make amends, really.
We did.
no, he can bore off.
Yeah.
So you say you don't understand Vernon Kay, but I don't understand, what's her name, Tess Daly.
It's a fair point.
I understand Vernon Kay. For a man from Bolton, he's done very well for himself.
Didn't he also?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he was sending.
Yeah.
Anyway, no,
We digress.
you're not invited.
Should we move on to the game?
That was a Super Bowl.
Like literally one of the best Super Bowls we've seen in.
It was the best Super Bowl
several
since
years.
the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, which the Eagles Patriots one I thought was a more fun game. But I think this was dull
nuts.
fun.
Back and forth all the time. Second highest combined score in a Super Bowl all time.
Only lacked a little bit of defence, didn't it?
I don't mind that.
But there was only one punt, wasn't there? You know, obviously we know the Eagles didn't get to Mahomes. They did once, really, but you know
They never sacked him.
sacked him all game. You know, one tackle that caused his injury to flare up, but
I thought
that defence, you know, that'd be the only disappointment I think for some.
I thought the defensive plan of the Chiefs, I thought that was really good. I thought it was bend, don't break. I thought they bottled up the Eagles' running game almost completely, bar Jalen Hurts. Like
Jalen Hurts 70 yards and 10 rushing first downs on his own.
Yeah. But if you take that out, in total, including Jalen Hurts, 70 yards. In total, they had 115 yards.
And what was their average
148.
Since the start of 2021?
148.
Yeah.
153.6
I
per
was
game.
pretty close.
So it did come down a little bit to the Chiefs forcing Jalen Hurts to play quarterback. Now, Jalen Hurts had the game of his life. Yeah. Like, if there's one person, I've been the biggest detractor. He's been brilliant this season. That was an amazing game from Jalen Hurts.
So quickly, some of his long passes.
Passes were
before
brilliant.
you move past this point, this is a very eminent point. Currently, better than Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
Okay. Currently, how close to being Josh Allen?
I think
he's better than Josh Allen.
I don't know.
No,
I think
Josh Allen
he's
over.
more consistent than Josh Allen.
Yeah,
He's got a better team around him. So I think that's the biggest difference. Like if you give Josh Allen that offensive line, that run game, and those wide receivers, if you basically switch the quarterbacks, I think you probably
Josh Allen
get the Eagles over.
He makes bad decisions at the wrong times.
He does, but I feel like he's forced into it because the team aren't as good.
I really think there is very little between them.
Yeah.
If you ask me who to take right now, I think I'd have to take Hurts.
I would struggle to disagree. I think they're on a par right now. Like you say, the fact that they're on different teams makes it difficult to assess. But it was a question that hit me on the drive home after the Super Bowl was, where is he right now in this?
We didn't discuss that.
Yeah, but I was thinking all the way back. This is why I now haven't slept.
You just ignored me in the passenger seat.
I had a long way to go from your house to my house.
Yeah, no, but it is a fair.
And he was
fair
drunk
point.
as fuck.
Yeah,
But while you're talking about
Don't drink and
quarterbacks,
drive.
Patrick Mahomes proving that he is far and away the best quarterback in the league. He just is. This is better than peak Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, he's light years above of anyone else in the league. I mean, if you were to say if you were to go, he's the best of all time as a quarterback, I'd have to say,
Maybe.
I'd say I can't argue.
You can make an argument for it.
Well, if you look at his numbers at 27 versus Brady's, he's got like double the touchdowns. They've both had 2 Super Bowls, 2
MVPs.
Super Bowl MVPs, but then he's obviously got 2 MVP seasons as well. He's got like 24,000 yards. Brady got like 100,000 in like 18 years or 22 years or something. So it is ridiculous. He is on pace for like.
But we've said it before.
Numbers.
And I hate to be the one that has to defend him here, but Brady's career has had 3 Super Bowl MVP chunks to make it
He's
up.
got 3.
So the longevity in itself makes it difficult to assess over everyone else.
Yeah,
Montana is the next one that you assess in the same category. Mahomes has got to do this again and again. Otherwise, he's going to slip back to be Aaron Rodgers as opposed to jump up and be, or Steve Young, or opposed to jump up and be Tom Brady.
He's already above Aaron Rodgers in my mind, just based on the fact that he's got more Super Bowl rings, but he also with those rings, he's also got the performances as a quarterback throughout the season. Well, the guy's been to 5 AFC Championship games in a row. Every season he's played, they get into the AFC Championship.
Isn't he the first player since Kurt Warner in 1999 to get like all of the awards in one season?
Certainly the first one to win the MVP and the Super Bowl.
I'm sure
he's
it's
also
1999.
he's the first ever quarterback to lead the league in passing yards and win the Super Bowl in one season.
Really?
Never been done before.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is mad. But he's
a man who's turned Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney into standout players, and that wasn't pointed at you. It's just Kadarius Toney was brilliant. Juju Smith-Schuster was brilliant.
Kadarius Toney's punt return was
yeah. I wonder how long before we get bored of it.
Yeah,
like when does he become Brady and Schumacher? Man United. These sort of Goliaths that actually, like,
the thing
we
is,
want to see humbled.
The thing is, he plays the game.
He's so
in such a way,
so entertaining.
Whereas, like Brady was Brady, wasn't he? Yeah, like where's Gronk 10 yards? I know he does it to Kelsey, but he's the number 1 scrambling quarterback of all time. He's got the highest passing rate of any quarterback scrambling ever. So he doesn't just stand there, does he, and just do really boring things. Like, even as someone who wants to beat them, you want your team to beat them, but he's just brilliant. Like,
even his
Brady was efficient and effective and brilliant at winning titles, but you didn't always enjoy watching the Patriots. And Andy Reid is a really nice guy, comes across really well. Bill Belichick, always a massive dickhead. So it doesn't really help, does it?
Do you not think that the true test of Mahomes will be when Andy Reid goes?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Of course it will be.
Because whoever takes over, it's going to take time to adjust. But until that time, the two of them, they've just taken over from where Brady and Belichick left off.
If you're Andy Reid, why would you go? Like, he must be having...
Because his heart is 98 years old.
But he must be having so much fun.
Yeah.
Coaching such a talented player. He's probably... I don't know if he said this or not, but I'm sure he's the most talented player he's ever had.
I can't believe there's another player, but the new Belichick Brady is Reid Mahomes. Yeah. They have absolutely stepped into that vacuum that's created.
They've already started to use the word dynasty. I'm not sure they're there yet, but certainly one
You need to win 3 in so many years to be a dynasty.
I think you're absolutely there. They're on the cusp of it.
Well, they'll be favourites for next season.
They already are, yeah.
And that's fair enough. We should mention the other standout players on the Chiefs team, though. I want to give the award for, if there was an award for most important player of the game without being flashy, it was Derek McKinnon going down at the 1 yard line rather than rushing in for a Super Bowl touchdown.
Great coaching.
The smartest play of the week.
The smartest play of the season.
Yeah.
We don't need to give sweetest plays anymore.
I like the title, though. But yeah.
No longer sponsored by Toot Sweet because they've gone bust. Well done. But because that was a player's opportunity to put themselves on a Super Bowl highlight reel for all time. And instead, he slid.
Team first.
I mean, he was so close to being in, but he wasn't in. And so he avoided doing was it Todd Gurley?
Yeah. Mark Bradshaw as well.
There's been a few players. And yet he was unopposed because the Eagles knew at this point they had to give it up.
It's good coaching for the Eagles as well. They were like, run in.
If he'd have gone in then, there'd have been best part of 2 minutes on the clock.
I think it was 1 minute 50 or 1 minute 30, something like that. Yeah, but it was and they also had a timeout as well at that point. They had to use the timeout when Mahomes knelt as well. My standout player, Nick Bolton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant.
Obviously he got the fumble recovery and touchdown, but led the Chiefs in terms of tackles and was just
he was always there.
Always there.
It was an interesting one actually because Hurts had a great game. We know that.
Yeah.
And everyone talked a lot about being the first quarterback to get 3 rushing touchdowns in a Super Bowl. But they were mainly from the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
They weren't real touchdowns. Anyone could have been holding that ball and been thrown over.
I don't know. He reminds me of Cam. He's the way he moves. He's so big. I think. I know it is from the 1 yard line, but the amount of times you see running backs, taking a running start and still hit the line and do not get there. The way they do it is smart, and he's just big. He's just a big fucker. And
they do get like 4 blokes behind him as well.
If you push him,
my point is, I think quite a few people on that team could probably get those touchdowns, but he recovered really well from the fumble, but it wasn't talked about a lot. Because he wasn't touched when he fumbled that ball.
No.
He was
all on him.
He was shocked by the pass rush, wasn't he?
And he
the pass rush was coming.
He just dropped the ball, and that's the thing. Even though at half time, the Eagles were ahead, Mahomes looked injured. The only turnover in the entire game was that
fumble.
Was that, and it did bring them back into it.
Oh yeah,
that punt return were really key, and then obviously there's some other bits. We'll probably come on to around kind of.
The Chiefs came out firing in the second half. The second half
touchdown.
But they needed to be perfect, and they were
absolutely were.
But do you know what I like? I liked that he had the fumble, and the first play, he just runs it again, and you're like, actually, I think there's a player who's mentally fit for this game, nothing really. You can see that nothing much phases him, and the way he played afterwards, I kind of like that. Remember you do remember Cam dropping the ball, and then basically not diving on it, losing the Super Bowl, and his career went to shit after that. It was never the same, and I don't think you're gonna. I don't think you're gonna get much of a reaction from Hurts at least going forward.
Are we allowed to talk about the catch rule now? And what is a catch? Because there was one, what I believe was a second turnover in this game.
Yeah, I still.
When the ball was clearly, and I know he didn't move anywhere, but
now
I've caught the ball playing rugby before, and when it was in my hands,
he had it into
2 hands
by the letter of the law.
It wasn't a catch.
It wasn't a catch. But he had it in 2 hands and had it for a beat or two, and just because he didn't move or make a movement at all. Take a step, it's ruled an incomplete pass.
He wasn't in the air, he was on the floor as well.
Yeah.
He was on 2 feet, had the ball in his hands. I don't see how it's not a catch.
You've got an issue with the rules.
That is an issue with the rules.
But the thing, because I'm going to keep saying today, the thing is consistency.
Yeah.
But consistently, I've seen things like that, and it is always called as a drop pass. So I don't have an issue with it. My issue is with the rules and but
I would say that was more of a catch than Dallas got a catch.
Even though Dallas got a catch and pass was amazing.
Yep.
it didn't look like a completed
He
catch.
didn't look like he had full control
I
of it.
suspect with the Goddard catch, he had Tyreed it against his helmet, and we weren't seeing all of the replays because it looked to us like he had neither hand on the ball.
Yeah.
But he must have been holding it because the ball didn't move.
He Tyreed it on the helmet
Yeah.
and then regained control. They said he had control and then had the step. So
It was
balls, and we can't say much about it because they reviewed it.
Yeah.
And it went to the thing. So
as we know with VAR this week, reviewing things on replay does not necessarily mean you reach the correct decision. Application of difficult rules is difficult because you've still got human error.
But this has been the conversation in the NFL for the last 10, 20
Since
years?
Des Bryant?
Yeah,
What's
since
a
that
catch?
Des Bryant catch, yeah.
What's a catch?
and that was a
I
catch.
don't think-
That was a catch, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anyone can really say what a catch is anymore.
No.
I disagree. I think we can sit at a table. It's the same rule I've said with VAR and
Yeah.
anything else. If 4 or 5 blokes sit at a table, you just go, what do you think? Everyone goes,
But
and
we
you,
all sat here on Sunday night. I'd say most of us thought, that's not a catch.
yep, the Goddard one.
We got it one.
But then for the turnover, for the fumble, we all said
We all thought it was a
he's
catch.
caught that. Now,
Yeah.
like John says, the rules state you have to make a football move, and he didn't.
Yeah.
So-
We all didn't. We all thought it would get overturned.
But if it
But
was,
we all thought it was a catch.
yeah.
and this is a strange comparison, but if this was a cricket match, then he just caught the ball and that person's out because he
Yeah.
caught the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You only have to catch it; it just has to stop. There's nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
If you then fall over and drop it, you've still caught it.
Yeah.
So it's a strange one. The rules are not.
It's the rules.
Good.
We have an issue with the rules.
Yeah.
But I say the Goddard one. I guess I don't have much. I thought the Devontae Smith one was a catch, and I don't know why you'd give the Goddard one, but not the Devontae Smith one,
Yeah.
which was overturned. I thought that was
Because it was straight after, and they weren't too sure.
but it was the Devontae Smith one was before,
That's what I'm saying. So then they gave the Goddard one.
and yeah, I don't know if it, but it's just inconsistency.
Yeah.
and it fucking annoys me.
So while we're talking about rules,
Yeah.
you guys were debating what are they going to do about the fact that you can't stop the Eagles from a yard on 4th down with their quarterback sneak.
Everyone else needs to be better.
I agree with John, but
I also I've never begrudged this play because they do it and it's part of the rules and they're brilliant at it and that's good coaching, that's good scheme playing, but I do think the NFL are going to do something about
so
it.
it's a bit. It reminds me of when the Seahawks got very good of jumping the line for a punt
Yeah.
and or a kick and
Exactly.
blocking it. Now, no one actually got injured in that play, but they said, "Well, this could cause an
there's-
injury to the centre."
This
So,
could cause an injury as well.
You're not allowed to pull a runner,
yeah.
but you are allowed to push. And as up until recently, you weren't allowed to push either. That's
Yeah.
still quite a recent change. I think that's going to be the rule. You're not allowed to push a runner.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
think
why they
that'll
need
be
to
the
change
rule
it.
I don't see why we need to change it. And
don't
actually, the
either.
way the
You're both right. Other
The-
teams should get better at it and figure out how to defend against it.
oh, use it.
The problem is if
Yeah.
you
They're showing you.
Yeah.
Here's how to gain a yard 94% of the time.
well that's fine.
Nick
isn't
it.
It's how do you stop it though? Because if you end up players getting just so low in an uncontrolled way, it's going to be very difficult. And I think
It's going to be like if a scrum collapses, there's
exactly
going to be a risk of a neck.
there is some
neck
risk
injury.
there. And the thing is,
That'll
all-
be how the
other
NFL
option.
do.
What will happen is teams will have to flood the line, and then they'll just literally
They did that a couple of times during the season.
exactly just
Yeah.
tossed it to
Yeah.
the outside. So I don't know. I think they'll look at it because it just the league don't want anything that's 94% successful, apart from Justin Tucker.
Which is why they moved the extra points back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I get that. I do get that. But don't forget as well, this is a blip. Most teams are only executing this at 80%.
Yeah.
And you have to allow teams to just get through that stage. Eagles aren't always going to be this good. If Jason Kelsey retires, they will drop off
He's a free agent.
incredibly.
Yeah.
But because
He-
he's
yeah.
he's the best centre in the league right now.
Yeah.
And he makes this for Jalen Hurts. So if he goes at 94 becomes 84 and everyone goes, oh, well, it's just normal. So the league should just let it play out. It's been one season, maybe two, that you could say they've been unstoppable in quotes.
Yeah,
If
I
it gets to
don't like
5
it.
or 6, they might change it, but they shouldn't just.
It's
Let's
the
make
NFL.
let's
They
make
don't- they
fucking
don't like
Mahomes
fun.
play with lead in his boots because he's too good. And,
Yeah,
know.
I'm with John.
like
I agree with both of you as well. I'm not,
the whole thing's
I'm not
marginal
disagreeing.
gains. No, I know you're not. I just think it's.
That's what the NFL does.
I keep seeing it mentioned, and I just think actually, no, it's up to everyone else to catch up.
Well, and this brings me back, circling round to. So you were saying how long before we get fed up with watching Mahomes and Reed win everything. Now the reason And over time, you guys all got fed up with the Patriots. But it took 20 years, give or take, because they didn't win 6 in a row, did they? They won 2, then they won another 2, then they won 1.
7 years without.
Yeah. Between the first 2 and the
9
third
years,
one, it was a long time.
You also cheated, which just helps.
Yeah.
Like,
I think some of the
People hate the way the Patriots went about it. I'm
Yeah.
not disagreeing. What I'm saying is, the NFL isn't set up for someone to win 4 in a row.
No.
Like, it just isn't going to happen.
Set up to do the exact opposite.
Exactly.
And we have seen that quite a lot lately. Teams coming out of nowhere and win now.
Yeah.
You know,
Bengals last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think
And the
it's
Rams.
likely to be an issue. Even if the Chiefs win it again next year, the chance of them winning 3 in a row. What was the last team?
they've been
Has
to
anybody
3.
ever won it 3 in a row?
It's never been done.
Cowboys won it 3 out of 4, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
49ers
Chiefs
came
have
close.
been to 3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls, haven't they?
yeah.
Lost 1, won 2.
49ers won 2 in a row. It went to the championship game the third year and lost
The Bills went 4 in a row and lost every single one.
Yeah.
But the Niners did it before free agency, and it's so hard to do now.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do. Yeah, the Bills did it before free
Steelers
agency.
won twice in a row.
Twice
Right,
twice in a row,
in
twice.
the 70s,
Yeah. So, but it's so hard to
Yeah,
do now.
it's
You've
hard.
got free agency. It just won't happen. And that is why I don't think people do get like Schumacher winning 5 on the trot, or whoever
that's
else,
Ferrari,
Hamilton winning 76 titles in a row.
Yeah.
Because the rules are there to just allow the team spending the most money to win it, and it doesn't work like that in the NFL because anybody can leave.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Are we going to talk about the hold?
Yeah.
a
So
hold.
the
We
James
should.
Bradbury hold.
It was a hold.
I agree, and James Bradbury also agrees and has come out and said, in
It
any
was
other
a-
game, it was a hold. I thought they would let it go, is what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't let it go, and they weren't wrong. It's just it was the only holding penalty of the whole
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And that's my. Have I mentioned consistency?
You've been quite consistent.
Yeah,
in
very
your
consistent in
mentions
your
of
Yeah.
mentioning of it.
And I don't, like, as I said, I'm not angry.
You're just disappointed.
No, because it was a hold. But I'm angry that we lost a chance for an amazing end of the game. And like the Super Bowl was great,
Yeah.
but let's give the Eagles a minute to go down the other end.
Yeah.
And like, let's see if they can win it or I think that'd been brilliant. And it wasn't the only hold in the game. And we've seen throughout the playoffs holds everywhere. And they're not given. Yet this one's given. And I do want, if this was not a Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers quarterback, would that hold have been given? Because Mahomes, first thing that he's throwing the ball, first thing he's pointing at the umpire going, that's a hold, it's a hold, it's a hold.
I think it was like at the time.
I can't be upset. I'm not. It cost me some money.
Bragging rights.
It cost me no money. It cost me I was going to buy a turntable.
DJ Farrow.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
You'd already mentally spent that money.
I've already bought the fucking records. But like I just wish it was like we didn't have so much time talking about the refs.
I think the thing is, when I saw it live, I thought, well, it did look
We
a bit
all
like
thought
a
it was
hold.
ticky tacky.
But nothing, mate. But then when I saw the replay, which showed his shirt
Yeah.
like, away from the body, normally if the shirt comes away from the body, it's a hold. Yeah, and whether it was just that it was right in front of a judge, a touch judge or
It
whatever.
was
I don't
because
know.
Mahomes pointed out as it happened.
And he pointed
Put it out,
straight
and then
away.
the flag came late,
Yeah.
so that's why everyone's just pissed off.
But I think it's the thing was that did not decide the game.
No.
The punt return decided the game. The fumble decided the game. I know it was early in the game, but it stopped the Eagles, destroying them.
The Eagles
Yeah.
getting no sacks.
Yeah.
They just
McKinnon's smart play.
No, it wasn't just that. It was the coaching at halftime
Yeah.
because the Chiefs
coaching overall.
at halftime the Chiefs looked like they're in a lot.
So
of trouble,
this
didn't
is
they?
where Mahomes was injured. He re-aggravated the ankle
Yeah,
injury
they were
on
10
a
points
Hassan
down.
Reddick hit. They're the only team to win from 10 points down at halftime, other than
The
the
Patriots.
Patriots, which just tells you how good this team
Yeah.
is. And they looked.
They'd only scored one offensive
They
touchdown.
scored one offensive touchdown, and they looked.
They did the same
off
thing
the
tonight.
lips.
Good.
They'd only had the ball for like 7
minutes.
minutes. Yeah,
8 minutes.
It
Mahomes
didn't
was on
look
the field.
good. The Eagles looked really strong. Yeah, I mean,
So the Bradbury hold, in my opinion, is about 10th on the list of reasons why the
Yeah.
Eagles didn't win
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But like John says, it's annoying.
can I throw out a potential I don't necessarily agree with this, but it is an angle. Nick Sirianni has had this reputation of being really aggressive on fourth down throughout the season. We saw a couple of fourth down.
They went on 4th and 5, didn't they, at one point? Yeah.
There's a 4th and 3. Well, admittedly, it was in their own half where they punted it, and that was the Kadarius Toney run back. And there was a 4th and 6 where he kicked a field goal to go 6 points up, I think it was. That after the Chiefs had already scored a touchdown, that's inviting the Chiefs to go down, score another touchdown, and go into the lead for the first time. Did Sirianni bottle it a little bit?
No, I don't think because of the way the Eagles were playing at the time. I think I like how ballsy he's been on fourth down this year, but it's just the Eagles were not moving the ball at that point.
The Chiefs' defense were like a different team in the second half.
I agree. I agree.
I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes obviously were there when they beat the Niners. They came back from further behind, and I think they just knew what they needed to do. I think they knew how to adapt, how to change, and they kept believing the whole way through quite clearly. And I think as soon as the Eagles went behind, I felt like the Chiefs were going to win.
Do you think it was a bit more of a, I guess...
That was the first time they faced adversity in the playoffs.
I was going to say, the Eagles have basically been... Not had an easy...
It was easy, let's be honest. It was easy.
It was easy.
It was. They played against the Niners team with no quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
3 quarterbacks.
no
actual quarterback.
3 players playing quarterback.
Well, they had
a quarterback for what, 4 snaps or something?
Yeah. And they played a Giants team who'd gone one game too far.
Yeah. So I think they did have a very easy route through. And that's not being harsh on them.
No,
it doesn't take away from what they did in the regular season.
Whereas the Chiefs had faced quite a lot of adversity throughout both the playoffs, but also through the season as well, I think.
They beat the Bengals, which,
not easy.
Not easy.
Do you not think, though, like, let's say for a second, ignore the Bradbury hold. Let's say McKinnon goes in for his touchdown. Does Hurts lead them down the field?
No, I didn't think he would at that point.
See, I absolutely think they would have won it, and it came down to who's going to be in the best situation with the ball.
Who's got the ball last?
Now they did get the ball last, but he had to throw like a 60. It didn't go anywhere; it was incomplete. But from a normal play perspective, if they'd have got the ball, I absolutely think they'd have done enough to win it.
Well, AJ Brown was quiet, but whenever he went to him, he was.
He had one amazing catch. We spun all the way around
for the touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they win it.
I think Andy Reid had it figured out by then.
Maybe, but ultimately it came down to the 2 best teams in the league with the 2 best quarterbacks of the season playing the best games they've had all year. I mean, eventually somebody runs out of clock.
Do you know what? You say that. Mahomes didn't even have to have the best game he had all year. He only threw for like 180 yards.
Yeah.
That's true, but he was playing on one leg.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He didn't have to have the best game.
But it does
Pacheco
help.
had a great
if
game.
you look, I was going to say,
they started running the ball. They ran for 119 yards.
Pacheco finished with about 60 more yards than Miles Saunders.
Yep.
Sanders did nothing. He had his worst game of the season by a mile.
Yeah.
Now he's looking for a
2
new job.
yards a carry.
Yeah. They need to just bring in an actual running back. Josh Jacobs is available. Go get him.
But listen to us, right?
Do you know who is available?
We've got
Hasn't
so much
been
to
getting
talk
much
about.
love.
Yeah.
Alexander Mattison, who is always brilliant whenever he comes in for Dalvin Cook at the Vikings.
Decent draft pick. They could draft the best running back.
Yeah.
Go and get an absolute stud, because then he's there for 5 years, and you haven't got to pay much for him. Whereas Josh Jacobs, you probably have to pay a premium for him. Go and get Bijan Robinson out of Texas. He's brilliant.
Yeah, I've got no. I agree. But yeah,
That's probably the most we've ever had to talk about Super Bowl.
But yeah,
it was brilliant. It was fun.
We're not finished yet because how shit was the turf?
That's an issue.
Well, I think
That's huge.
That's one issue why there wasn't so many sacks. That the edge players couldn't.
Reddick said it was the worst pitch he's
Yeah.
played on, and it was that's what he
How
said.
can that be allowed? Like,
Well, yeah,
apparently it's been bad all season, isn't it? They were trying some new grass, weren't they?
they were trying. Yeah, this new something
Not the time
31
to do it, is it?
turf.
No, but it's like when they introduce new balls for the Football World Cup and you find out the Jubilani is shit. It's like, who's decided now is the time to... Don't introduce it now.
Yeah, but you expect that from FIFA.
The groundsman at Arizona, the Super Bowl groundsman, is 91 years old. I reckon it's time to pack it in, because you've had a fucking shocker.
It's not like you haven't got the conditions to grow stuff in Arizona.
Exactly, yeah. You know, you can. It's such a clever stadium. The pitch can move in and out. There's a roof. it was just appalling. And
It was terrible.
I do think it probably cost the defense.
Yeah.
I think, but the only person who really didn't look affected was AJ Brown. You know, like whenever he got the ball, he could turn. Everyone else wasn't as. It's a shame, but yeah. Anyway, is that enough Super Bowl?
Well, do you remember in our preview, and you did mention this earlier, we said it could come down to who has the best punter.
Yes.
So Townsend for the Chiefs averaged 31.5 yards a punt of his 2 punts. Aaron Sipos was for the Eagles, average of his 2 punts, 9 yards when you take into account the returns. And that is what ultimately special teams. The Chiefs special teams absolutely outplayed the Eagles.
Although Butker did miss a kick.
Butker did miss a kick, and it absolutely didn't.
Yeah.
It did not affect him one jot. When he was given the chance to win the game, he just won the game.
Yeah,
he hit 5 out of 5 extra points. Yeah, good kickers miss kicks, and it doesn't affect them. That's the difference. Bad kickers miss kicks,
especially if they can't stand up on that turf.
Yeah, and that definitely doesn't help. Yeah. But all in all, easily one of the best Super Bowls we have ever seen. Yeah. Like you say, New England, Philly before was brilliant. I really enjoyed back in the day. Niners Ravens was brilliant.
Great
with
laugh.
the lights and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I know we lost.
It was drama. It had
a lot of drama in it, wasn't there?
Yeah. Like huge.
Seahawks, Patriots, where Russell Wilson threw it away at the last minute.
Because I don't like either of those teams.
No, but it was funny watching the Seahawks lose in the last second.
That was good fun.
I mean, Pat's Falcons.
You could have just run in.
Pat's Falcons. It doesn't matter whether you like the Patriots or not. That was fucking incredible.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
There are some great Super Bowls. There were some
terrible
bad Super Bowls. I didn't actually mind last year. I thought last year was really good.
Last year was good.
Like we really like.
Last year was good, yeah.
But
for those people who wanted more defense, go and watch Patriots Rams. That was
pure defense. It was nothing but. If you enjoyed watching the '85 Bears or something,
the purists love this. Yeah, but sport's there to entertain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anybody want to comment on the halftime show?
No. Wasn't for us.
No, as John handily pointed out to us,
old men.
We're old men. It's not for us.
Didn't enjoy it. Other people did, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah. They probably didn't enjoy.
I did go back through the entire list of Super Bowl halftime shows to work out which ones I'd have preferred, and I got back to like the 80s or the very early 80s and the late 70s, where basically it was just like cabaret people that were local.
My favourite comments during the halftime show ranged from "Why is she dressed as a hernia surrounded by spunk?" to Gary saying, "Wouldn't you rather watch me take a shit on that platform than this?" Those two things, and also Gary also saying, "I'd rather watch Mike and the Mechanics," and John nearly throwing his chair in disgust. That was possibly one of my favourite events of the evening.
I mean, yeah, I think I'd just say at that point, you have to remember we're
10 minutes.
we're old men. This is, Rihanna is not for us.
Like a Mechanic have a great whistling solo. That would really translate well.
I just felt the whole thing was a bit flat compared to last year. That was my only criticism.
It was. I found it strange. Last was really great. I know a few Rihanna songs, so because I am old, and
Pondery playing.
Was it not the fact that she was basically just toasting to the songs? She wasn't actually singing most of it. It was all backing track.
Yeah.
That's what annoyed me.
And the dancing was just off-putting.
She looked like a penguin that shat itself.
I mean, it's fair. She's pregnant, 100 feet above the stadium on like a Super Mario style platform. Like,
let's go.
Yeah, all power to it. It wasn't for us. But next year
we have decided
next year when it's Mike and the Mechanics and the kids are moaning.
We decided on the new approach is that we're just going to watch Shakira and J-Lo every half time, and then watch the new one the next day.
Yeah, and then we'll when they're talking bullshit, we'll watch Prince again as well. That was fucking brilliant.
I went back and watched the Who one from.
Bruce is really good. Once again, none of these options are helping to spell the
Heartbreaker is now dead.
Michael Jackson also dead.
Yeah.
So Justin Timberlake's been on it about 4 times in different guises.
Number of searches.
His last one was so dull.
Number of searches for Rihanna's makeup brand because she
sells it on fucking NFL.com now.
Yeah. Anyway, the number of searches increased by 833% after the Super Bowl. So that's why the artists do it for free.
Yes.
And that's also why I look so smooth.
Yes. I did see a tweet going, Rihanna did the Tough Time Super Bowl for free. So next time someone asks you to do something for exposure, maybe consider it. And I'm like,
they all do it for free.
they all do it for free.
Like
Be
in the wrong
it's
place
like
at the
the
wrong
biggest
time.
advertising platform in the world.
Yeah, like maybe not, giving your services to free to some, to a small company because I might get seen by 40 people rather than 114 million people in the US.
Sure, look, if they ask me to do the Super Bowl halftime show, I will say yes.
Yeah.
It will be amazing. Me and my electric drum kit on one of those floating platforms.
Your strip tease.
Amazing.
Magic Mike rides again. Absolutely.
Anyway,
right. So you said before we started this, hang the halftime. We need to plough through because everyone's old and tired. So hang the break. Let's plough through. Derek Carr, talk to me, people. Derek Carr.
Panthers.
Jobless.
He is indeed jobless. So
he's just in charge, isn't
Derek
he?
Carr cut
He's
by the
now in
Raiders
charge,
day before the Super Bowl.
No, it was yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay.
Derek
Derek
are
Carr.
a bunch of idiots, man.
Really, I played that so bad.
They have very badly handled this. They
I mean,
currently have Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah,
No, they don't. He's a
free agent.
He's a free
Yeah,
agent.
they don't have a quarterback. We had an argument with our resident Raiders fan.
What the fuck was he talking about?
Oh, they could have got a first round. You're never getting a first round pick for Carr because A, you're not taking on that contract because it's not great. B, the Raiders don't want him. So why would you give up anything if you know that in 2 days' time he's going to be cut because they don't want him? That's because
he's not elite, is he? He's not top tier.
He's not top tier. He's middle tier. He's Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott.
Kirk Cousins.
It reminds me of I over lockdown I rewatched The Thick of It, which is a brilliant show. And there's a point where one of the ministers is fucked up, and they're like, "Oh no, you're going to fire me." And he's like, "No, you've only been here a short while. If I fire you now, it's on me. But if I fire you in 6 months, then it's on you." And to me, this is like what the Raiders have done. Basically, by not playing him for the final 2 games of the season, they've removed all trade value. Yep. By having this clause in his contract, then they've also got rid of any trade possibility because he still has trade.
How did they think that was going to work? Look, mate, we don't want you, and we're going to make it really clear by not playing you.
Well,
and then
this
we're going to try
contract
and trade you, right? Like what? I don't have to go for a trade anywhere. Like
this contract was arranged to bring in more cap space last year, so they could bring in Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones, etc., etc., etc. And it's not bitten in the arse because the whole point is he has a very small cap value. They haven't paid him the $40 million. All that happens is they haven't got any trade value for him.
He's going to get more as well now.
But he's going to get more.
Yeah.
So, but it is on the Raiders. They should have been able to trade this asset. Yeah. And basically they've done it to save $40 million.
So that $40 million for him would have been over 2 years. I think it's something like it was $23 million the first year and whatever else the second year. He's going to get more than $20 million a year.
Yeah.
As a starter. Someone's going to pay him 30, 35, maybe even 40.
35.
No, I think you're right.
Well, there are some stupid teams.
There are some stupid owners out there.
Who these someones are, then?
Panthers,
Saints.
Okay, well, one at a time. Who do you think are the most likely suitors? Panthers first.
So the Panthers were trying to negotiate a trade, and apparently were getting somewhere before. Obviously, he said no. Carr said no. I'm going to be in charge of this. But he'd obviously been and met the team, so
he's met the Saints as well.
You wonder if Carr had gone, well, I do want to come, actually, Panthers, but
not on the standard contract.
Let's not do this. Like, you can just make out like you're trying to get a trade, and I'll just come for whatever the number.
Would it be funny if because Carr can sign anywhere now because he's been cut.
Yeah, doesn't have to wait for free agency.
Yeah. So whilst Rodgers is in his solo retreat in the dark. Just
to the Jets,
top to tail in ayahuasca, and I'd imagine jizz. If he joins the Jets, because let's not kid, the Jets are also owned by one of Johnson & Johnson, so they probably don't want to sign the guy who's against Big Pharma.
Yeah.
All Rodgers wants is some drama to get a new to either retire or get a new contract from the Packers, make a bit more money. Carr should just go to the Jets. The Jets have a team that Carr can help improve, and he will be in a good situation because, for once, he's been at the Raiders 9 years. They've had a good defense for one of those years by accident because Bisaccia galvanized the club in absolute shit circumstances. To me, that would make all the sense. Just, have a word with the Jets, see what they're offering. He'd be an upgrade on all the quarterbacks they've had in the last 15 years. And they can then start planning their season now.
I don't like the Saints at the moment. They don't do much for me on offense. I just don't.
I don't know. I think we have a decent quarterback in there.
I know we've got Chris Olave. Kamara's up. And
he's going to go to jail soon, isn't he?
Kamara and Jacobs are quite similar, and that we know works with Derek Carr. So I think the Saints is a decent
defense.
I don't really see what he can do with the Panthers right now as they are.
DJ Moore is a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Much better than he
looks
because he plays with shit quarterbacks.
I think the Panthers have got a good defense as well.
Yeah. I think he should go to the Panthers or the Jets. Something totally different.
So the thing with the Jets, what amuses me is the thought that maybe Green Bay should sign him and just say, Aaron, we've made the decision.
Yeah.
You're being
Fuck
retired.
I don't think they can.
Neither do I. No. But that is.
And they have to pay him like $59 million next year or something. That is ridiculous.
But if he does,
they don't want.
If he does move, and Derek Carr joined Green Bay suddenly would be quite good. Yeah. Because he's not currently a downstep from last year's Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is going to turn back up and take all of that fucking money that he negotiated. What do you think he's going to do?
I don't know.
He's not going to move.
No.
He's going to fucking be in the news, go on Pat McAfee, look like a twat, and he'll go back to Green Bay like the sheriff and take his $60 million. He's not going anywhere.
Okay, Colts. What about the Colts?
I feel like they've gone down this route
Veteran
quarterback.
But they've also drafted Sam Ellinger, and he was rubbish.
Yeah, but they've got a relatively high draft pick. I think they're fourth.
Yeah, they'll be able to get a half-decent quarterback, won't they?
I don't know. Yeah, so I think for that reason...
They're out.
Falcons. Falcons is a possibility.
Falcons can afford to pay him.
Ridder?
Anything in the NFC South, you could four of those
well,
teams.
and then the Bucks.
Yeah,
the Bucks are a shot.
The Bucks are a good shot.
The Falcons, they've only played Ridder like 2 games.
Yeah, but imagine if you sit him for another season behind Derek Carr. But I think the Bucks are an outside shout here because everyone's saying, well, they're just going to sign Jimmy G because he can play Brady's offense, which he can. But he also falls apart 5 minutes into every season. Whereas Derek Carr, at least, is a bit more reliable.
Yeah, he's fairly robust in terms of fitness. Yeah.
And so, if you put Derek Carr on the Bucks, they're a better team than they probably were right at the end of the Brady experience.
What about the other New York team?
I think there's a...
I like it. I think they're going to re-sign Daniel Jones.
I think they will re-sign Jones. Yeah. I think they like what he can do with his feet as well.
I think they'll sign Daniel Jones, but I think it will probably be the thing that slows them down in the next year or so.
And that leaves me...
I think they'll find their ceiling.
Oh yeah. I think we've found it. Sorry, I've just looked how much Rodgers can earn this year.
So it's $59 million, isn't it?
77.92 million.
Wow.
That's including his base. So his base salary, his prorated bonus.
What was his base? 59.
His base salary is 1.1 million, so it's not much. His bonuses is 15 and 14 million. His guaranteed salary is 59 million.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
So
59 guaranteed. That's ridiculous.
So yeah, he's staying.
He is staying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one else wants to take on that fucking...
That leaves on my list the Texans, who are having a massive rebuild and have not great history with the Carr family, bearing in mind what happened to David, but...
I think for that very reason, he probably won't go there.
No, they're too far away. It's too late in his career to go to that bigger project.
Yeah, maybe.
Commies?
They seem set on Sam Howell.
I just don't know why anyone would want to go there.
I know what, but they were one game away from the playoffs.
That's true.
And
but the ownership issue is bizarre.
With a decent quarterback throughout the season, because Wentz came in, was shit. Heineke came in, met his ceiling, tailed off. They had the other guy. It's awful.
I can't see. Washington
but you've also got McLaurin
to the playoffs next year. You're not going to get that division be that even again next year. I just don't think that's going to be the case.
Seems unlikely.
Seems likely, but
I think it kind of depends what the Giants do as to how well Washington can do.
I think the Giants can fall much more than the Commies next season because I think they've had not much.
So going round the table, then you've got to pick a landing spot for Derek Carr. I will start with you, Gary.
I'm going to go Panthers.
Jim.
Saints.
John.
Jets.
I will say Saints as well. So, but it's a spread, and the point is he's in control, and he is. I believe he is a better player than we maybe get to see at times. Like John said, the Raiders is a bad organisation who've not had a good defence and have jumped around with. Look at the drafting they did. Look at how they were run under Captain Racism. It wasn't great. John Gruden was there on a 10-year contract. The idea was they were supposed to make the playoffs and get in there 8 out of the 10 years, and they did.
They did it once he left.
Yeah, because they are just not a well-run organisation. So this is the thing. I think he's going to be looking for what's the best organisation I can go to.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Panthers, whether they are or not. David Tepper hasn't shown me enough yet.
Agree.
Commanders are a badly run organisation. Jets are not a great run organisation. Colts were, and then all of a sudden Irsay in the last 2 years has blown it. Falcons, I believe, are.
Yep.
Saints, I believe, are a well-run organisation, but they've got themselves into cap.
They're in cap. They're 55 million over.
Bucks, I believe, are now, and it depends if they keep the same people in place. So that is what I think he's looking at. And Texans are a terribly run organisation, but they have just started again. That's the only reason I included them on the list. But yeah, for me, it will be the
I think
Saints.
the Texans is a fair shout to talk about. Just, not happening.
Moving past Derek Carr, I want to talk about the Colts and what they've appointed to their coaching staff.
Yep.
Because that is quite an array of talent they've just appointed. I'm looking
Steichen.
Yeah, so how are we pronouncing it?
Steichen?
Shane Steichen?
Shane Steichen.
Sounds like something very German. A Shane Steichen? I'll have two. Thanks very much. But have they not appointed Brandon Staley as well?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I believe, I think I saw his name crop up. But yeah, so Shane Steichen, tell me about him. Because I know nothing about this man. And this is what I ended up with Nick Sirianni when he got appointed. I was like, who? And it feels a little bit like one of these left field appointments where we can't assess it because we just don't know enough.
I don't know about that.
Go on.
He was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers in 2020 when Justin Herbert was the rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty decent year for the Chargers. And obviously he's been the offensive coordinator for the Eagles for the last 2 years. And basically, they're not obviously not the same quarterback, but they're not the same type of quarterback. So for me, that shows that he can adapt a game plan based on the talent that he's got, rather than being one of these coaches, Josh McDaniels, who's like, this is my game plan.
If you're Jonathan Taylor, you get quite excited about that.
Yeah. Look at the run game he had in the
Yeah.
Eagles. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And as well, what he can do with if they can get an offensive line coach, the offensive line there has potential. It's just been appalling. If they can get that back to where it should be, they could be fine. But yeah, his defense is Gus Bradley.
Colts team should be so much better than they are. Should.
A lot will come down to who he does employ as his defensive coordinator, because I think he's already said that he's gonna call the plays on offense. So you'd expect him to be kind of a Carl Shanahan type coach, where he was obviously head coach, but he's effectively the default offensive coordinator as well. So who does he bring in as defensive coordinator? I think that's the key thing, because there's some good pieces in that Colts defense still.
I think
get a lot out of it. There's good that Colts roster is decent.
It is really good.
When they call their own plays, you can either go Carl Shanahan or you can go Ben McAdoo
or Mike McCarthy.
So you don't want to go full McAdoo.
Let's hope he. I don't care. He could go full McAdoo.
Absolutely.
Who? Moving on to the Panthers, who was Frank Reich first a coach for?
First,
Yeah. Who was his first coach that he worked for?
Andy Reid.
No. It was
Shanahan.
Jim Caldwell, who has now been appointed his assistant coach. at the Panthers. This is a massive appointment.
Great coach.
Jim Caldwell is one of the most underrated coaches of the last 10 or 15 years. Got the Lions into playoffs like 4 out of 5 years and got sacked. Fucking retards. Now, he's going to be back on a team that is struggling similarly to how the Lions have struggled for years. Yeah. And he's going to help Reich whip this organisation into shape. Frank Reich should never have been sacked from the Colts. We've said this. Like, they should have stuck the course. He was entitled to a bad season or two, bearing in mind that they had all that turnover at quarterback. If they can get that key position right, the Colts will walk this division. Yeah. They've just got to get that right. Like, the Texans are 3 years away from being any good.
Yeah, 3 years. Texans are out. I think the Jaguars are still going to be good next
year.
Yeah,
they're going to be good. That is the difficulty in the division.
That's the biggest speed bump.
I do like Pedersen. Pedersen is...
I agree. And the fourth team has now escaped me.
Titans.
The Titans, who are massively on the downside.
Huge problems on the roster.
The Jags and Colts could be dicing this out if they get it right. But the Panthers now have got this very good mind backed by another very good mind, and all they need is the quarterback, the same thing that he was lacking at the Colts.
The other thing they need is for David Tepper just to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's another Jim Irsay. It's almost like for like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
They buy it as a toy, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean, Tepper was a part owner at the Steelers. He should look at what Pittsburgh owners do, because the Pittsburgh owners are probably the best owners in the league.
They had 3 head coaches since 68.
Yeah.
Chuck Noll.
And one of the most successful franchises. Chuck Noll,
Bill Cowher.
Thank you.
And Mike Tomlin.
I could see the guy.
Like, that is crazy.
And look how much success they've had. Yeah. Like, through the 70s, maybe not so much the 80s, but certainly kind of late 90s, early 2000s. They have been a successful franchise. Six Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And Todd... I can't speak today. What's the guy's name? Not Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Hasn't had a losing season.
No.
In how long?
Like 8 years?
No, longer than that. He's been there 14 seasons.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Been there a long time.
So, Tepper needs to look at that and go, right, you guys know what you're... I'm appointing you guys as football guys because you know football. Go do your job and I'll watch. That's all he has to do.
I like how Frank Wright's number 2 is called Deuce Staley.
Deuce Staley. Nice. Yeah, that is who I meant, not Brandon Staley when I said Staley.
Yeah, but Jim Cole.
Deuce Staley, running backs coach.
Do you want to talk about the other coordinator that got appointed?
Yeah.
So the Eagles' defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, is now the Arizona head coach.
I told Jim about this on Super Bowl night.
You did, yeah.
Went early, I did.
There you go.
I heard it on the grapevine.
I heard it on the grapevine about Shane Steichen as well. We're comparing notes. So they've moved from an offensive head coach to a defensive head coach.
That's what bad teams do.
Sirianni now has no coordinators at all.
Well, I'm going to come on to that in a minute in terms of like where do the Eagles go from here, because they've got both coaching but also roster. The biggest question we had for Shane Steichen is who's the appointed defensive coordinator. The reverse occurs for Jonathan Gannon. Who's the offensive coordinator? Because that offensive coordinator's got to be bought into Kyler Murray.
And this is the thing, right? Kyler Murray isn't going to be good enough. So somebody's going to lose their job.
Not be fit for the start of the season.
He's not going to be back for the first 6 games. So then Colt McCoy is who you're planning around.
Yeah.
Or Trace McSorley.
It's not good enough in that division. The Rams will not be as bad again next year. They just cannot be.
It's early for making predictions of who's doing what, but the Cardinals are going to suck.
I think you're right.
John, you take a time slot there of where Mike said the Cardinals are going to suck, just in case they're either really bad or really good, because you'll want either one of those back. But I don't know. I've never got invested in Kyler. He hasn't taken off. He was supposed to do what Jalen Hurts has done.
Yes.
And it doesn't work. Yeah. It doesn't. It's not going to work because he's not invested. Too much money, and now he's holding up everybody. He's holding up Lamar's contract talks because everyone's looking at his deals and Watson's deal and saying we want their sort of money.
Season's holding up Lamar's contract talks because he wants too much money guaranteed now.
Absolutely.
Didn't agree it early enough, and now no one wants to pay him because he doesn't play.
Because he's missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons. Yeah. Let's talk Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley can be reinstated from today.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley has missed a whole season because he got done for gambling.
Yeah.
He did not get accused of touching up a load of women in massage parlours. That only gets you an 11-game suspension. That is a massive, massive injustice. And I wanted to make sure that was brought up as it was in the first podcast of the season, because the Deshaun Watson case has gone very quiet, and let's not pretend it just went away. No, people just stop talking about it and move on, and that's not okay.
No. And
But was very much...
Especially like this weekend, you've seen the prevalence of DraftKings gambling now with the Super Bowl. And yet...
most of us around this table had a bet on Zeke.
Yeah, exactly.
I won. You lost.
I won.
I covered my
don't
my
gamble.
tracks. But not my big pre-season bet.
I don't have any moral objection. You know I can't use apps. So I don't gamble.
I only bet on about 2 things a year.
I already lost my house and my life. I don't need to be gambling again.
Marriage was a big gamble.
I bet on that.
John was quids in.
How do you think I bought my car? The more you look at it, the more it stinks. And I'll be glad to see him back. I hope he is approaching the player he was, because
I think
Calvin Ridley was electric.
Yeah, he was.
I think he will be. I think he'll be brilliant.
In that offense, he's now
And
also
Lawrence-
with the Jaguars. In that offense with Peterson.
Yeah.
That's
And
fucking exciting.
That's
That
a
is
great
really-
signing for them.
Yeah.
Fresh off a year's rest.
They don't lose. If he's shit, they'll get rid of him, and they would probably hardly cost him anything. And if he's great, brilliant.
Yeah. Win-win.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What else you got?
So let's talk about the Eagles. So obviously they've lost the Super
Losing
Bowl.
all these coordinators.
They've lost both their coordinators.
Miles Sanders is free agent.
I'm
Boston
going
Scott.
to go through.
Oh, sorry, Jim.
Yeah, I'll go through some of the highlights of
Being all premature again.
yeah,
there, Gary.
exactly. The highlights of their roster
Too much cream pie.
is now kind of moving into free agency. So we've got 4 defensive tackles: Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargreaves, Ndonkan Suh, and Linval Joseph.
What's his name?
Ndonkan Suh
Just check it.
and Linval Joseph are all free
It's bad when
agents.
someone has a stroke on a production.
Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham are also free agents. That's
Jesus
more than the
Christ.
defensive line.
They were in win now, weren't they? Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts. They spent big because Jalen Hurts was on a rookie contract.
Jason
They just went,
Kelsey.
free agency? Come on down.
Well, Hargraves, Graham, Sumalo, Bradbury, they've all got contracts that go on, but they're all void
Yeah.
years. And so actually, Javon Hargreaves still counts towards the cap this year. So to bring him back isn't as expensive as it seems. Same with Brandon Graham, Sumalo, Bradbury. Like these players, they can bring back. They are $8 million under the cap, so it isn't
They've
as
got to-
bad
they've got
as
to
it
pay
seems.
Hurts.
They got
But
to
they
pay
have
Hurts.
got to pay Hurts.
Miles Sanders,
And how much is he
Boston
worth?
Scott.
Well, be Kyler Murray money, isn't he? It's got to be $50 million a year.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, even if they do,
Super Bowl.
it will probably be an extension to his contract,
Yeah,
so
so
it
the
won't
first year will be
hurt.
cheap.
It won't hurt them until next year.
Zach Pascal was another one.
I think they're
Dillard,
fine.
the tackle.
Zach Pascal.
Kazir White, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Chauncey Gordon-Johnson. There's a lot of players.
Like Gary
Taking
said,
account-
they were in win now, and now
Yeah.
it could be win sometime.
Well, I mean, I think this is the moment where Harry Roseman, who's had an amazing couple of years as an executive, this is where he needs to weave his magic because
And we'll see what Sirianni
Yeah.
is made of because he had a poor,
Exactly.
an
You won't-
okay first season, a brilliant second season. What's he going to be
we
like
do
next
worry.
year?
You look back at kind of the Falcons after their Super Bowl appearance. Obviously, they lost Carl Shanahan and another load of players, and they haven't been the same. I hope that doesn't happen to the Eagles
The
because
same for the Rams though.
Yeah.
Like they lost a few players, not all to
And
free
some
agency, but-
coordinators.
and coordinators, and it changes teams. It really does.
so yeah, it could be it'd be an interesting watch. Hopefully they're as good as they have been
3/4 of the
last year, 'cause
reason the
they've been
Patriots
entertaining.
struggle so badly is because they lost Josh McDaniel. You're losing
Yeah.
coordinators is massive.
It makes big
It can.
difference.
Andy Reid's kept Eric Bieniemy all these years. How the fuck has that happened?
Well, he might be
That's-
moving. isn't he?
Yeah, he might be moving. I think he has to move because it's almost a crime that he doesn't get
Yeah.
a head coaching gig. But I think that's because
There's nothing left, is there?
well, everyone looks. Well, he can't go to head coach, but he's been rumored to go to Commanders as offensive coordinator. I think he has to move out of Andy Reid's and Patrick Mahomes' shadow. Because I think that's the big.
That's a disgrace, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, he's interviewing with them tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's the only way
Well,
to do it. Because
basically,
everyone looks
if Ron Rivera doesn't start the season well, they're basically saying
yeah, we've
Yeah.
got a coach.
you're ready to go. That's what that is, isn't
But
it?
Andy
is.
Reid's come out and said he needs to move on because he's not getting head
Yeah.
coach jobs because
So who was
everyone
the
associates it with me,
Yeah, who was the offensive coordinator before the enemy?
Nagy,
Matt Nagy.
who's in the building.
Yeah, but they look at what Matt
I assume
Nagy
he's working the bins or something. Is he in the building?
assistant head coach. But they
Well,
look,
yeah.
but they look at what Matt Nagy didn't do at the Bears and that's then a worry.
Don't forget, Matt Nagy made the playoffs several times.
Twice.
2 and 4.
Yeah.
But we still...
we poo-pooed it.
Yeah,
but he actually
I agree
made
with you,
Trubisky
yeah.
look half decent half the time.
Yeah.
Which is, hard work.
Yeah.
Gordon got a Super Bowl ring.
Melvin Gordon, was he on the match day 53?
I don't know.
I don't think he didn't play. He
didn't play.
He didn't make an appearance in the game.
I think he still gets a ring now.
I think you probably do. I think you get a ring if you work in the kitchens.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody gets a ring.
Yeah. I think. Well,
I think I'm getting one because I watched the game.
well done.
Thank you.
I think
Yeah,
you
last
need
time
more
you got a
bling.
ring, you got financially screwed though.
I did indeed.
Yeah.
I did. Let's talk about my
Better
ring.
than his ring getting screwed.
Yeah.
That was
That would have been
afterwards.
less painful. that would have been less painful, less damaging.
I lubed.
I felt nothing. Shocker. Right. Moving on from my arsehole. Or John, as his otherwise known.
I've got nothing more to add. Has anyone else got anything?
No, I don't think I do.
I think we're good.
This is normally the time of the season where we do our awards. We'll come back. We're gonna have some time off.
Did that last week as well.
We sort of did that last week, but I did have some awards to give for some of the stupidity we've had.
There
in this
will
league.
be
I'd
some
quite like
awards.
to have a review of the all the bets and see how much money Paul owes me at
There's
some
bets.
point as well.
That will
There'll
happen.
also be a pre-draft power rankings to be done.
Exactly, and as well, I think we need to take stock of the season, come back because there's been some teams that overperformed. There's been some teams that shat the bed.
Before you do go,
and
there,
I feel we need to.
who is your most disappointing player this season? Because I'm going to pick
Aaron
one.
Donald.
Oh,
That's a good shout.
Good shout. I'm going to pick one that I don't think anybody else is going to agree with. But with all the hype that came with it, and considering the coaching he landed with, Kenny Pickett wasn't very good.
He got better as it went on.
Yeah, but he wasn't very good.
I never bought into it.
Nah.
Aaron Donald.
First year quarterback as well.
I know, but
Carl Pitts.
Ooh, Carl Pitts was rubbish. But
Really
then
expected
so
more
would
from
you
him in
be
the
if
second.
Marcus Mariota was
Yeah,
very
no,
good.
but I still expected more from him in the second season. We often say tight ends need a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson always works on
No,
these
because he wasn't disappointing because we knew he was going to be shit.
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
of course.
Just none of it worked. But I do like the Carl Pitts one. I think the days of him going in the top 20 in fantasy drafts are well over.
Depends who they land a quarterback.
The thing is, he'll go like
Top 40.
20th round now next year, and he'll be fucking
Somebody
amazing.
gets
Yeah.
I think people will still take a fly on him.
Yeah. You will.
But well, we're going to have some weeks off. We'll come back. We'll take stock of the season. But until then, we'll see you soon. And hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. See you soon.
Bye.